Good morning, all. I'm delighted, fortunate, and feel blessed to have with us one of India's most renowned rheumatologists and immunologists, our beloved Dr. Padmanabha Shenoy, founder and clinical director of CARE. We also have with us the members of Lupus Trust India, who are all lupus patients. We have Mr. Dinesh Menon, Advocate Indulekha Joseph, Azruddin Salim, and myself, Vacha Samrita. This informative session is going to be extremely helpful and we hope it answers your queries. Over to you, Doctor.
As all of us know, lupus is an autoimmune disease affecting all the organs, and it has been for last 20 years as the awareness has increased. More and more number of patients are being diagnosed. Previously, it was thought that there are not many patients of lupus in India, but now, as all of us you are aware, there are a lot of patients who require good care. And previously, 1970s and 1980s, lupus was a killer disease. No longer lupus is a killer disease now. If you are treating it well, you have a very good outcome and people live longer. So, but the problem is lupus, as we know, comes out of the blue. Can't predict when it comes. And it's an unpredictable disease. You can have flares in between, you can have a normal life in between. So it is an unpredictable course, makes it more difficult. And sometimes it affects joints, sometimes affects kidney, sometimes affects brain. So you have to be really, really vigilant. So that makes this disease little more complicated than many other autoimmune rheumatic disease. Most of others have joint pains and other stuff, but this disease is one of the most severe ones among all the rheumatic diseases because it can affect any organ and the affection can be really fast. So what is the relevance of having this kind of patient get-togethers, patient meetings and lupus trust? When somebody feels sick, how much ever doctor says, they will realize that they have a severe disease. But the moment a patient who has gone through the same disease comes and tells them, I have been through this, my feeling was this, and now I am better, the entire outlook changes. Because it's a hand-holding exercise, the patients can identify their fellow patients much better than any doctor. Even if doctor says you have a kidney disease and you are going to improve, they may not believe or they will be 100% convinced. The moment a lupus patient comes and tells them, I had a kidney disease, I have a creatinine of 3, now I was being dialyzed, now I am perfectly fine, kicking, I am working as a so-and-so, that makes a lot of difference to the patient, this thing, because they make it and idealize the other patient, and they just make sure that they think about the other what other patient thought, and they improve steadily. And second thing is financial assistance and other stuff. When because it comes out of the blue, suddenly there is a lot of financial commitment to the patients, and the patients require support at that time. Once they recover, maybe they can repay also. So that is the second thing. And third thing, and the most important thing, is advocacy. What do you mean by advocacy? Is basically going to government, telling that such a disease exists, and there are a lot of people living with such kind of disease, and they require government help to carry on. For example, there is a lot of help patients with cancer, type 1 diabetes, all get. But as we know, lupus is much more common than type 1 diabetes, much more common than most of the leukemias. So we need to create awareness among governments to say that this is a common disease, this is not a very uncommon disease, and this is a severe disease, and the patients require support to get treated. So these are the major outlooks, and definitely the patient education programs and patient get-togethers and creating awareness among public, all are important in long run. And I'm very happy that Lupus Trust India is doing a wonderful job in all these aspects with such a good leaders. I am sure last 2 to 3 months due to the lockdown and this corona attack has been a testing time for all of us. But I'm sure as soon as this COVID gets wiped out of this planet, all of us will come back with more vigor and fight against the other stuff. And all of you are great warriors, and all of you can really beat the lupus, I'm sure. And you can help others to beat. Most of you have beaten already, so you can help others beat this disease. So this year, unfortunately, we are not able to have a lupus meeting during the lupus day. Every year we have. So this year's especially Zoom meeting, and we are all talking over Zoom. So we are distant, but still we are very close to each other. Zoom. So I hope the next year we will have a great lupus meeting, lupus day get together, And that day we will can last year we can dance and we can sing and celebrate the life of and celebrate the recovery from this disease. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. Doctor, we have viewers all over India today, though there's a net issue, so we'll be proceeding with the question answer session now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please.
Over
Okay,
to
Doctor.
you.
Doctor, my question
Yeah.
is, in this backdrop of COVID-19, what are the
Yeah.
precautions to be taken by the lupus patient? And one more thing is there any special care to be taken for those who are having immunosuppressant, steroids, infusion, and for other patients like in their remission period? Could you please
See,
explain, Doctor?
Yeah. As all of you know, COVID-19 is a virus. It attacks the body. And how does COVID-19 cause mortality is basically their immune system overreacts. What happens is their immune system overreacts against the virus, something what happens in autoimmune disease, and causes thrombosis and causes various kind of manifestation. So there is a lot of reports coming up. I'm not sure how many of you know the APLA antibody, antiphospholipid antibody, which is a type of antibody seen in lupus. So there are a lot of reports across the world which has come up in last 1 week telling that COVID-19 causes APLA antibodies, and this APLA antibody causes thrombosis, and thrombosis causes lung damage and is one of the major cause of death. So what I'm trying to tell you is COVID causes death by immunological mechanisms. So the virus multiplies initially, that is called viremic phase. So what prevents the virus from multiplying? Immune system. But later what happens? Immune system overreacts. It kills the virus, but not only it does that, but it also damages the other organs like lungs and blood vessels, etc., etc. So during the initial phase, the first phase, those who are on immunosuppressant can have a higher viral load because the virus keep multiplying because your immune system is not working. So people all over the world, all the doctors, especially rheumatologists who are giving immunosuppressant, were worried what will happen to our patients because they are on immunosuppressants. But there is very good data now which has come up in New England Journal of Medicine last week suggesting that those even on biologics do not have increased risk of death or increased risk of severe COVID. They have the same risk as the general population. That is a very reassuring thing because what has been proven is it is not that the immunosuppressant, if you take immunosuppressant, you are likely to die more than those who are not on immunosuppressant. That is not unfounded. So the risk is same. But as you know, COVID-19 has a certain mortality risk of 3 or 4% or 2%. So that risk is same with autoimmune disease and non-autoimmune disease as of today. And another very important thing is hydroxychloroquine, as all of you know, is a very good drug for lupus. And there are some early data suggesting that it may be effective. There is still a lot of controversy going on for a prophylaxis, and maybe there is some role in the early stages of treatment also. Chloroquine may work, may not work. We are still debating on that. So chloroquine is also, to an extent, if those patients who are taking lupus patients who are taking chloroquine may have some protection. But having said all this protection with chloroquine is still debatable. We are not sure of how much protection it may not also. So it's extremely important for all of us have all the general precautions like washing hands and safe distancing and wearing mask, etc., etc. All these steps are extremely important for lupus patients also. But never decrease your medications of being taken for lupus. Why? Because it may be more harmful than benefit. Because sometimes your lupus will flare. The corona, the attack rate out of India, out of 10 lakh people, 30 people get. So you get a chance of getting your disease at this stage is 0.003%. But the moment you stop drugs, chance of flare is 30 or 40%. And that flare may happen, something which affect the major organ, then it can be a real issue. So never stop any of your drugs.
Doctor, how about working lupus patients in this COVID-19 situation? Do we have to take any additional care, doctor?
You have to take the care like anybody else. That's all. You have to take social precautions. You should avoid crowding. You should go. Social interaction has to be minimum. And that kind of stuff is extremely important for all of us. Hand washing, mask. Use a regular face mask every time and make sure that everybody wears. Mask will only work if everybody wears it. It is even if 20%, 30% don't wear, there's no effect. So always wear a mask. Hand hygiene, don't touch on your face. You can use gloves plus or minus. So you can go for work, but all this precaution has to be there, and avoid public transport for some time.
Okay, we have queries from this lupus patients who are pregnant, doctor. They are too concerned in this situation.
Regarding many other diseases, pregnancy is always a high risk. For example, influenza or hepatitis C, hepatitis E, all these viral diseases, pregnant people have a higher mortality. But in COVID-19, although there are some complications for the pregnancy, we are not. It is not extremely lethal in this patient. It is not extremely dangerous. Although there are minor risk, and the people have reported from various parts of the world. Although there are premature labors happening, some minor complication happen. Death rate is not very different from the general population. For example, general population death rate is 1 or 2 or 3%. In pregnancy also, it's almost similar or even slightly lesser. So nothing to worry with pregnant people. Pregnant people recover. In Kerala also, we know one person who was pregnant recovered. All over India, there are a lot of reports pregnant people recovering. So nothing to get overtly worried. Your baby is not unlikely to get affected because of corona, because it's a respiratory virus. It is not a virus which goes to the blood. It is a respiratory virus, unlikely to cause major malformation of the baby. So nothing to overtly worry, but always take proper care.
Okay, doctor. Okay, the next question is, how do we differentiate common symptoms such as cough and cold and sore throat with corona and as a lupus symptom?
Only way, see, corona symptoms can be really non-specific, as all of us know. It can be a real cough, cold, cough and dry cough and fever. If there is a community outbreak happening, only way to differentiate is go and get tested. That is the only way, real way to identify. If there is no community transmission, then definitely it may be some other virus infection. But if it's corona or not, 100%, how can you differentiate? Only way of testing. And another small symptom which is some people are telling is anosmia. Your smell goes off in corona and taste goes off. It's an early signs. But these are really non-specific. Always better to get tested by PCR.
Doctor, I would like to know the tips for to be stable and also to prevent.
Hello.
Dinesh,
sorry, I can't hear you.
Is there any tips like that?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, sir. Is there any tips for to be? Is there any tips to for to be stable, sir?
Stable during this period?
During not in this period, as a lupus patient, is there anything to be stable and as well as to prevent relapses? Most of the lupus patients are asking why this flare-up is coming. I am going and testing each and every 6 months, 3 months, 2 months. Still, there are flare-up and the disease is occurring.
Very relevant question. Yeah. See, what is the rate? Everything depends on what is the rate of flare-up. If you take drugs properly, follow up regularly, the chance of flare-up comes down. It is not zero. There is still 4 or 5 or 6% chance of flare-up. Even if there's proper drug monitoring happening, everything happening, the moment the doctor comes down on 1 or 2 drugs, you can have minor flare-ups. And the flare-ups will be minor. It can be adjusted with minor changes in the drugs. For example, somebody is on mycophenolate mofetil, taken for 2 months, 2 years, 3 years. Suddenly you come down on 1 tablet, there can be minor flare. ESR can go up, count can go down, and your dsDNA is increasing. Suddenly, it's very easy. You just go back to the previous dose and your disease comes down, comes under control again. But if you completely stop the drugs, what happens is then you may have to give again steroids, pulses, injections, and change the drug sometimes to mycophenolate rituximab. That kind of complications happen. So flare-ups are parts and parcel of this disease. By regular follow-ups, what we can do is decrease the rate of flare-ups to a great extent. Yeah.
Okay, doctor. How do I deal with the fear of side effects, especially steroid-related immunosuppressive drugs related? For example, like HCQ toxicity, steroid cataract. Doctor, along with this, I have another question. That is an interesting question. How can a lupus patient not turn into a hypochondriac, especially every day one sees a new symptom?
Yeah, very true. The first question is definitely you agree that definitely all of us agree lupus drugs, especially steroids, have a lot of side effects. All of us know that. Only way to deal with this thing is have a frank discussion with your doctor. Always when the doctor gives a drug, there will be a risk-benefit ratio. So unless the benefit outweighs the risk, benefit will be higher than the risk, no doctor will prescribe it. For example, in initial days, once you give steroids, you will get Cushing-oid facial, you can get diabetes, you can get weight gain, but that is required at that point of time to control your disease and save your life. So always discuss with the doctor what is this and when are I good. And according to now almost 95% of the patients, except there are few patients who require a very low dose of steroids, 90% of the patients you can come down on steroids to less than 5 milligram. So less than 5 milligram of steroid is relatively safer. This doesn't cause as severe disease as severe side effects at 25 milligram or 30 milligram or 40 milligram. So less than 5 milligram is relatively safer. But have a frank chat with the doctor. In chloroquine again is a very safe drug. There are a lot of rumors roaming around in corona era that chloroquine is cardiac toxic, etc., etc. But these are unfounded. Why? Because what happens in corona is people started taking higher dose, 800 milligram or 1200 milligram of chloroquine, and they develop cardiac toxicities. So in lupus patients, we give 200, maximum 300 or 400 milligram. At those doses, it has been used on millions of patients. It's usually very, very safe in acute setting. Whether toxic, eye toxicity also is a very uncommon side effect of chloroquine. It happens in 1 or 2% after 5 to 6 years. So that also is less. But what the problem usually seen in chloroquine is some people are allergic to it, and some people can develop tanning, darkening of the skin. These are the two issues usually we face with chloroquine. And these things, yes, definitely for young pretty girls and boys, it's an issue. But always chloroquine is one of the best drugs available for lupus. It improves mortality, it decreases the steroid dosage, it's an anti-diabetic, anti-cholesterol. So it's a very, very useful drug. And if possible, always take chloroquine and don't stop it. And second is hypochondria. The problem is living with lupus is a challenge. The only way is if it is lupus related, it will not come down next day, it will progress. If it is just like that symptom, but always if it is severe headache, if there is severe symptom which is troubling you very badly, always contact your healthcare provider and discuss it with them. So they can differentiate it with certain markers, but definitely yes, it's an issue. When you have a minor symptom like what are the main lupus flare-up symptoms? You will have oral ulcers, you will have skin rash, you will have severe headaches, and these are the major symptoms, or you have frothing of urine or high-grade fever. So these are the symptoms usually which comes with the lupus flare-ups, or increase in joint pains. Yes, otherwise usually the other flares, other symptoms like some paresthesia in the bottom of the neck or something, some small things, definitely you can ignore. For example, all the ladies comes to and ask me whether my hair loss is because of flare. It can be because of flare or it can be because of drugs. You can't really differentiate. And those kind of cases, basically, it's a minor, we say, tell the hair loss as a minor symptom. You just observe it, whether what are the other manifestations, other organs, and then decide which way to go. So always discuss with your healthcare provider. Don't turn hypochondriac. And don't keep thinking about lupus. There are better things in life.
Doctor, the next question is from Tamil Nadu. The question goes, is depression common in SLE? And nowadays, I'm forgetting things like elderly people do. Is that a part of it? How can I make my memory sharper? A lupus patient from Tamil Nadu.
Yeah. So depression, yes. As you know, depression and fibromyalgia are pretty common. 20-25% of lupus patients have depression and fibromyalgia. And depression is basically because suddenly out of the blue, a young girl getting a disease, getting adjusted with it is difficult. The moment the societal support happens, and the moment all the drugs, number of drugs come down, steroid dose comes down, your disease comes back normal, and you start working, the amount of depression is very much less. So there is psychological support required and there is societal support required. So depression is common, but yes, you can come out of it without drugs also. Sometimes you don't require antidepressant. Most of the patients, by controlling the disease activity itself, it can come down, because once the disease improves, the patient starts working and the depression comes down. And there is some other kind of depression, because when the lupus affects the brain, which is called the CNS lupus, these patients can present with severe depression also. That is also another manifestation of lupus. Those patients require MRI of the brain, and they require different kinds, slightly increase in the type of immunosuppression. That is first question, answer to the first question. Second question was memory issues. Yes, there are very few reports. One, memory is a very, if you are depressed, you are tensed, anxious, you tend to lose memory of a lot of things. You keep forgetting things. That can always happen. So first thing is try to meditate, try to concentrate, which improves the memory. And if still is an issue, maybe you can contact your healthcare provider, and maybe you can do an MRI, because small infarcts in the brain also can cause memory issue if there are other signs of any brain damage. But usually most 99.99% the memory issues are related to anxiety and depression. And some lupus patient, yes, in the huge studies have shown that over long time lupus patient has slight cognitive decline, probably related to small clots in the brain or small degeneration of the brain. It can happen there.
Okay, doctor. The part 2 of the question is from Kolkata. The question is, what should I do if counseling is not working for me? I've been taking counseling for the past 1 or 2 years.
The first thing is, if counseling is not working with one counselor, try changing the counselor. And maybe a second thing is, sometimes you are in severe depression, you require help of a psychiatrist and maybe some drugs. Because what happens in depression is your brain hormones, enzymes change the way they work. So you may require small amount of drugs for some period of time, and then you can stop that also. So always consult a doctor and exercise regularly. Exercise improves the mood again. And meditate.
Doctor, is lupus cyclical? If, how do we know we have a flare? Please throw a light on skin and hair health, like any supplements or vitamins.
No, yeah. Lupus is not really cyclical. You can have flares. Flares are unpredictable. But looking at the dsDNA, looking at the complement levels, etc., you can have an idea whether how lupus is doing. So you can have flares at any time. You cannot say that every month this month you will have flare. You can't predict that at all. But by close monitoring, we can see which way we are going and how your disease is getting controlled. First point. And second point is regarding skin health and hair health. There is no point in taking a lot of vitamins and a lot of stuff. Chloroquine can tan the skin a bit. So you have to be careful, not go to sun. And some vitamins like niacin can help in the hair health, but always take it with that will increase the number of pills being taken by the lupus patients. So try to maintain with the topicals like sunscreens and other stuff. That will be more advisable than taking a lot of vitamins and pills. Yeah.
Okay, doctor. The next question is, which age group is more vulnerable to getting lupus? Can early detection prevent organ damage? And how is it possible to detect these symptoms from a young age, as they are very deceptive?
Last question. What was the last question?
How is it possible to early detect these symptoms, as they are very deceptive?
Yeah. Very true. But first thing is, earlier detection is any day better. That all of us know now that before the lupus spreads, usually lupus starts with joints and skin, but it can involve kidney, other brains. So if you catch them early, by starting early treatment, we can definitely prevent damage. That is well known. But there are some patients who first affection itself is kidney. But in those patients also, if you pick up early, you can prevent damage of those organs. So early pickup is any day better. There is no doubt about it. Those patients who are treated early with drugs, they have a better long-term outcome, because when the moment you delay, for example, kidney affection, you are going to treat after 2 months or 3 months, your kidney will be half or 45% damage. So it becomes very disturbing to see at that stage. So that is the first thing. So always treat early, not late. That's first. And second thing is, how can the symptoms can be deceptive in young age? Young age, the problem is most of the young age people present with severe symptoms. So it's easy to pick up. They don't present with vague symptoms. They have fever, they have joint pains, they'll be really sick. Most of the young lupus will be usually sick enough that it cannot be usually suspected. But picking up lupus is relatively easy, because you can do an ANA. And ANA is positive in most of the patients. 99.99% ANA is going to be positive. So if ANA is widely available now, it's not very costly, 400, 500 rupees. It's widely available across country. So suspecting lupus and diagnosing lupus is not a huge challenge on the majority of the major cities. But the problem is majority of Indian population still lives in the rural areas, where awareness of lupus is not there, and they picked up really late.
Okay, doctor. Doctor, the next question is from a parent from Andhra Pradesh. The question is, what are the do's and don'ts as a parent? Please give us a few tips for parents who are dealing with children, young children with lupus. And this question is also applicable to family members, spouses, and siblings.
See, lupus is really unpredictable. They can't really predict how they are going to behave tomorrow. So there are certain challenges which every parent, every lupus patient undergo. But the problem is that sometimes, so you have to really understand that they may not be the performing the way you want on certain days. So you have to really understand with them, care with them, make them take their drugs. That is extremely important. And they will have their low days. They will be depressed on some days. Boost them up and tell them you are going to become better and treat them well. That is the first and foremost and the most important thing in the lupus management a parent has to see. And second thing is, don't blame the child for having the disease. That is also extremely important. It's none of his fault that he developed this disease. And I'm sure, and society member also, what we have seen is those who have better social support or parental support do very well in long term. So these are the very, very important things when the parents should know. But the other thing is that if parents are overprotective, the child can just go the opposite way also. So the child can misbehave, malbehave, adaptive behavior. They can say that I am having pain every day and not to go to school. And child can make lupus excuse, fool the parents telling that I am having a lupus flare and do something else. That kind of, so it's a very complicated thing. And always discuss with your healthcare provider whether how my child is doing. These are my issues the child is showing. And maybe then counsel them better and give them a better future.
Okay, doctor, thank you. The next question is from a patient from Haryana. The last question.
Yeah.
In states like Haryana and Delhi, and we even have patients from Kashmir who are a part of our trust, their question is, when there's such extreme climatic weathers, especially when it's extremely cold, a few of them results in paleness, joint pains, etc. So is there anything that they can do for the ones living in these extreme weather situations?
We have to protect ourselves. That is the only thing. We have to use good woolens. We have to be indoors. And we, as obviously all of us know, even if it is cold, the ultraviolet rays keep coming from the sun. So avoid always sunlight, even if it's hot or cold. Avoid sunlight, because what happens there is, because it is cold, people tend to go outdoors thinking that it is not sun is not as damaging, but no, sun is as damaging in the cold weather also, because ultraviolet rays keep coming. And always protect yourself from all these extreme climates. If it is very sunny, you don't go outside. If it is cold, wear the woolens.
Thank you, doctor. So we are done with the question answer round. So doctor, before we end this session, I'd request you to share a little message for all the lupus patients who are watching this across India.
Yeah. Lupus is a difficult disease, but when going gets tough gets going. And all of I am sure lupus is tough, but we are tougher and we will fight it out. All the best. Have a great year ahead. Although the COVID has spoiled the entire 2020, hopefully in another 2 to 3 months we overcome this pandemic and all of us have a bright time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, doctor.
Bye.